Hi, everybody. Guesting with us today is a member of Ross Porter Sports and a very, very good friend because he has helped us so much with his close friend, Carl Erskine. Please say hello to Jimmy Denny in Anderson, Indiana. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing great, Ross. I'm glad to be here, buddy. Thanks for asking.
Tell us about your relationship with Carl Erskine, the former Dodger pitching star, only in Brooklyn, but also in Los Angeles, and how that all began. Because, of course, Carl has always lived with his wonderful wife, Betty, in Anderson.
Yes, he's had one wife, one team, and he hit one home run, he says. But yeah, we met in 2013. The movie 42 was coming out. He was promoting his book Parallel. You guys know that book.
Yes.
The same time he was promoting that book, the same time the movie 42 was coming out in April of 2013. So we had him up at the fire station where I work at. I cooked biscuits and gravy for him. He told some baseball stories, talked about the movie, said the movie was on point. You could almost see your locker. He says the only thing that wasn't real about the movie was a couple cuss words that Branch Rickey said because he never cussed.
That's
Brent
right.
said he said he never cussed. That was the only thing that he thought was off. That was it. So he talked about the shot heard around the world.
Yeah.
I never knew he was even involved in that, being in a
Bobby Thompson's
bullpen.
home run off Ralph Branca.
Yes. They were both of them were in the bullpen.
1951.
1951. Carr was in the bullpen with Branca. He was throwing his curveball in the dirt. So Sukaforth told Clyde Dressen his curveball is hitting the dirt. So he chose Branca over Carl. Of course, Carl says it wasn't because of the curveball hitting the dirt. It was because Rube Walker was behind the plate. There was a lot of space behind the ump to hit the wall. Runner could come off third, and Rube wasn't as good as Campanella as far as defense. So they chose Branca. He didn't, he was going to be a better pitch. Of course, he threw the meatball pitch and home run. So when I saw that Carl was part of that, and then I realized that he was in the same sets as Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, I started collecting his baseball stuff. Him and I got closer because of Special Olympics, his son. I became the bowling coach of Jimmy. And it's been all uphill from there. I became the lead consultant of his documentary. I can keep going on and on and on. It's just a beautiful relationship we have. I can call him at any time, ask him anything. He calls on me. It's just I'm pretty lucky. I really am. I'm real lucky.
To just let people know if they don't know the background, Carl Erskine pitched for the Dodgers between, I believe it was 1948 and 1959.
Exactly.
He had two no-hitters. He won 20 games one season. He struck out 14 Yankees for a World Series record at one time. And he was just an outstanding pitcher and also a great humanitarian. And as Jimmy says, he's been so special for Special Olympics because of his son, Jimmy, who was born with Down syndrome. And Jimmy must be over 60 years old now, huh?
62. He was April 1st, 1960.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 62 years old.
And Carl and Betty just celebrated anniversary number
75 on October 5th. It's coming up. 75.
Betty had a birthday the other day.
She's 94, and she was beautiful last night. Yes.
And Carl will be 96 in December.
December 13th.
Makes him, I would guess, one of the 5 oldest living former major league players.
Yeah, he's I'm not sure which one he is. I thought he was number 9, but I'm not exactly sure.
He was at least a year ago, but I think several.
You're the stat man. So yeah, I'm sure you're right.
several have passed away. And of course, we lost our close friend, Vin Scully.
Yes.
Recently. Vin was 94 years and 8 months. But I want to go to that now, Jimmy, because you have put together a documentary, and I know it's about to come out. The preview was of the Carl Erskine story, and you had a preview last night in Anderson. Pick up with that and tell us everything that you can about it.
Yeah, last night was the actual premiere of the movie. Is the first showing. had a VIP party before the movie. You had to have VIP tickets to get to that. The movie started at 7:30 last night. It went to about 9 o'clock. It was, like I say, it was the first viewing. Second viewing is this Saturday. Tomorrow, tomorrow, this Saturday will be the second viewing of that movie, and then there'll be another one in Indianapolis on the 18th. And it's going to be, it will be played on PBS nationwide, and then there should be some DVDs coming out in the fall. Vin Scully, he had probably the biggest quote of that movie, and it was so good that they put him on the poster of the movie. Branch Rickey.
May I stop you right there?
Yes, yes.
You've had an involvement with Vin. Tell the folks what you think may have been the last baseball that Vin ever signed, and he signed it for you.
Yes, I was, honored to be able to be given the position of the movie as lead consultant. So Ted Green did me wonders by making me the lead consultant. I got to invite Vin to the movie. I got to invite Jerry Reinsdorf. I got to use so many photos of my collection for the movie. I had an idea. I was going to get a baseball signed by Jimmy Erskine, Carl Erskine, Betty Erskine, Vin Scully, Branch Rickey, Charlie Steiner, and Bob Costas. Those were the big names that's videoed in the documentary. So I got the Erskines, and I wrote Vin. I didn't call him. I could have called him, but I wrote him first. He called me, said he would be pleased to do it. So I said, when I get the ball signed, I'll get it sent out to you. Well, I got it signed. It took me a while to get it signed. Carl was pretty busy. So I called Vin, left him a message. This was in June. And I didn't get nothing back. And then you posted on your sports page that he had been sick. I'm sure you remember that. You were giving us updates on his health, and he was getting better. Well, the next day after I saw that, I get a phone call from Vin. It had been 3 weeks since I had left him a message. My daughter got the phone call. She comes running, Daddy, Vin Scully's calling. I'm in the shower. So I didn't get it answered in time. But I've always wanted a Vin Scully voicemail. I've never not answered his phone call when he called, just in case I never could get back with him. This time, I got a voicemail. Well, I had immediately called him back before I could even knew I had a voicemail from him. And we talked, and he says, I haven't been 100% lately. I apologize. Just so apologetic. Just such a nice man. It's just unbelievable how nice he is. And to hear his voice on the other line of my phone, I had goosebumps the whole time. Now he tells me, don't act that way. We're friends. That's how he has always said that. Oh, no. He didn't want me to be starstruck. You're my friend. Any friend of Carl Erskine's is a friend of mine. He always said. So I said, Vin, I'll get them balls sent out today. Well, then I hang up, and then I check the voicemail. And the voicemail talks about how ill he's been, how he's not been quite 100%. It was just a beautiful, beautiful voicemail on July the 6th. Okay. So the balls go out. It's been about 3 weeks. So I get a hold of Mrs. Lynn Porter.
Oh,
you know her. You know her.
61 years of marriage.
And I told her about it, sent her pictures of the baseball, and she started getting a hold of the Scully family. Mm. And it took about a week, maybe not even that. And she got a hold of I think Catherine, I'm sorry, and Aaron.
Yes.
And Aaron left me a voicemail on Friday. Says, we got the balls signed. Now, I sent 2 balls. I sent one for him to sign of the Erskines, for the Erskines. And I said, Vin, I've never had this is on a letter. I don't have any Vin Scully baseballs. I've got you another baseball here. If it's something you would like to do, could you please sign this? If not, you can keep the baseball. So when her voicemail, she only mentioned 1 baseball. So I had no clue that 2 was going to be coming. And 2 baseballs came.
Oh,
Both of them signed by Vin. Now, both of them were with a marker, which is not usually how he signs baseballs.
Right.
So I knew Vin had been weak. You could tell because he used a Sharpie. That's not him. He don't do that.
No.
So Monday, they show up at my house, and I told everybody. I could not believe it. The next day, I get the news the next evening from your wife about it.
And he passed away.
Next day after the baseball showed up.
Hi, Jimmy. It's Vin Scully. My health has not been too good. Kind of locked me for a loop. But I think next week, if you want to give me a try, I'll be more than happy to talk about whatever you want. Thank you, Jimmy, for your patience. I hope for your understanding. Again, not feeling close to 100%. Thank you.
Two baseballs, two signed, one for me, one for Ted Green, who yesterday I presented him with the baseball, and he knew how special that baseball was.
By the way, Ted Green is the producer of the documentary.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Let's get that in.
Yes.
So here's the question I think that everybody will be asking, Jimmy. How do we, the public, ever be able to see the Carl Erskine documentary?
You, the public. Well, I talked to him about that today because Martha Black and Jerry Reinsdorf were wanting to know about DVDs. And he says, like I said, the PBS will be airing it.
Has that been set up yet with PBS?
I'm not sure if it's been set up yet because there's still premieres coming out. First showings are going to be a first showing for Anderson College, first showing for Indianapolis coming up. So I'm not sure when that's going to be started, but I do know that he said DVDs will be coming out in the fall. And it's an absolute great documentary.
How long?
I want to think it was 1 hour and 15 to 1 hour and 30 minutes, I believe. I think it was about 90 minutes. And I remember Ted was always talking about how 90 minutes is not enough to do the Carl Erskine story. It's not enough. Okay. So he had to really, a lot of people wanted a part in this, but he just couldn't get everybody in. Couldn't get everybody in. It's beautiful, just an absolute beautiful documentary.
Yeah. Well, you've got to be proud of that. And when did this really start with you in your mind? Let's do this.
All this started 2 years ago. It took him 2 years to get this done. 2 years. Yes. And he was videoing the Erskines for 2 years. Wow. So you could go by the first video. You could see Betty's hair was a little bit different than 2 years ago. That's how you can tell. And they both were wonderful on camera. There's a few laughs, a lot of tears.
Jimmy, wonderful job on your part and the people back there. Anything else you want to add? Because I want us to go to the trailer after we finish this chat.
Well, I just want to say that Ted Green did the Erskine family just wonderful. He really told the Carl Erskine story to a T. If you could have been a family member and you learned something new. And they all talked about how they learned a lot of new stories in this documentary. Carl's favorite quote, when you bring up Ted Green, he'll say, he did his homework.
Jimmy Denny, thanks for all your help the last few months for our website. And we've really enjoyed working with you about one of the wonderful men of the world, Carl Erskine.
I really appreciate it, buddy. Really appreciate it.
Now, let's see the trailer about the Carl Erskine documentary.
Grab a Kleenex.
Yes, I am the last standing boy of summer.
From the dirt-poor alleys of Anderson, Indiana, to a record-breaking career on a legendary team on the grandest stage in sports.
He struck him out. Carl Erskine has set a new all-time World Series
He was about as good as it gets.
Carl Erskine lived the American dream and spent a lifetime giving it to others. A story of ignorance and indignity.
At their worst, the institutions were terrible, terrible places.
The worst possible situation that you would want to be in as a human being. That's what it looks like.
Countered by courage and conviction.
And Carl and Betty saying, we're taking him home and we're going to build a life.
Come on, Jimmy, give it all you got, kid.
They changed Indiana. They made an influence across the country.
Millions of parents still today are starving for someone to look them in the eye and say, your child is great. Not special, not different, not limited, not challenged, not disabled. Your child is beautiful. Carl made that possible for people.
A story of small victories.
If in 1935, a black and a white kid could hang out together and grow to be lifelong friends, we have a chance.
And social revolutions.
No Dodger, none understood more about what was happening than Carl did.
Carl Erskine was one of the first white allies.
A man of deep faith and humility.
Servant leader. That resonates strong with me.
Boy, is that Carl Erskine.
Who helped move a nation forward.
That mindset will change the world.
A story needed now.
What this country is starving for right now, understanding, empathy, moral courage, everyone belongs, the capacity to solve big problems, the capacity to overcome obstacles. Where do you see it? Who's teaching that?
I tip my cap to Carl Erskine and say, here's to you on a life well led.
I mean, he is living a perfect game.
Wow, that's amazing. One person did all that? Yeah, one person did all that. A man named Carl Erskine.
From the award-winning director of EVA A-7063, Attucks, the school that opened a city, and Bobby Slick Leonard, heart of a Hoosier, comes the best we've got, the Carl Erskine story.
Without the Carl Erskines of the world, we would never know the real power of sport.